Bula Vinaka boxing fans. So I think it was around 2 o'clock, maybe 2:30 New Zealand time today. I had a busy day with back-to-back meetings, just minding my own business, feeling like I'd achieved a lot. And then I see a surprising pop-up come up on YouTube. And shout out to Hatman Strikes Back. It was one of his videos that popped up, and it said in the title, Ryan Garcia fails drug test. And I was like, what? I could not believe it. So what I thought I'd do is go straight online to see if the sources were true, if the story was true. And unfortunately, the story allegedly is that Ryan Garcia has failed his A sample for the PED, performance enhancing drug, called Ostarine. There was another drug, I think, can't remember what that was a lesser substance found. However, Ostarine was the main one. Now, for those of you who don't know what Ostarine is, myself included, I actually had to Google that. Apparently it is a drug that a lot of bodybuilders use in the fitness industry. It is to basically help you to lose weight and also grow muscle strength as well. So to build muscle strength. When I think about losing weight, it didn't look like it gave much of an advantage to Ryan Garcia when it came to losing weight, because as we all know, he came in 3.2 pounds overweight. So that's the first question mark around the story. So let's break this down. Apparently, allegedly, Ryan Garcia, who has been fighting for quite some time now, decorated amateur, superstar in boxing, has had quite a few professional fights, has fought, good level opposition, including Luke Campbell and Gervonta Davis. He has got no history of PEDs, and throughout this build-up to fighting Devin Haney, he had registered with VADA, so that's the anti-doping agency, and he had been tested every single week leading up to his fight with Devin Haney for drug testing. And Boxing Kingdom on Twitter, X should I say, actually put out a picture, I think if I can try and get that, I'll put that in the link to my description, of confirmation as early as February for Ryan having complied with the VADA testing and having passed. So then, apparently, this failed drug test from sample A was on the day of his fight with Devin Haney and the day after. So let me break this down. You've got a fighter now who has publicly come out before the fight, has said a lot of things, called into question a lot of practices, behaviors that are happening. And let's be honest, a lot of the stuff that he's saying, if you go out and do your research, you go down that rabbit hole, you'll be able to see that he's not as crazy as he thinks. Just a couple of days ago, he was seen with Donald Trump, has publicly endorsed Donald Trump, and then literally a day after being seen with Donald Trump, these findings now get released. So if he had tested positive on the day of his testing and on the day after, why wait till almost 2 weeks to release it? Why was he even allowed to fight? From my experience in boxing, from what I've seen, is many fights have been called off due to, a performance-enhancing drug that's been found. I can just think of a handful of examples. Fights have been called off. Fights just haven't happened. You think back to what happened to Tyson Fury. He was meant to fight Klitschko in the rematch, and obviously this happened. There was also the mental health, but that was one of the reasons why the rematch never happened. Dylan White was set to fight AJ in August. We all know what happened there. He failed a drugs test. Dylan White actually was set to fight, I think, Oscar Rivas, but they allowed him to do that Oscar Rivas fight afterwards. So yeah, Conor Benn, as recent as a couple of years ago, I think on the week of fighting Chris Eubank Jr., was pulled up and failed his drugs test. The fight never happened. So what I'm trying to get at is, why was Ryan Garcia's situation different? Why was his failed drug test on the day of his fight and on the day after, having passed every other day, but fails then, having had no history, having said a lot of things about child trafficking, having aligned himself with Donald Trump, publicly came out and said he endorsed Donald Trump, been seen with him, going out, shadowboxing with Donald Trump. Then all of a sudden, he has now got this failed drugs test. Now, I'm not generally a conspiracy theorist. My brother loves this sort of stuff. But if you look back to see everything that I've just said, and you also kind of cast your eyes on a lot of the scrutiny Trump is getting right now with all the different court cases that are surprisingly coming now when he's running for presidency, and then you couple that with this, not to bear in mind as well, or to forget, that during the fight, it was pretty obvious, even for Devin Haney fans, that that ref, who was known to be a really good referee prior, he favoured Devin Haney substantially. That, what was it, 6th round, I think, or 3rd round, when he knocked down Devin Haney, he should have been stopped. The fight should have been stopped. Devin Haney was incredibly hurt. Devin Haney was actually dropped a couple more times. So he actually probably had about 5 or 6 drop downs in the knockdown, should I say, in the match. And you could clearly see the ref giving Haney time, pushing Ryan Garcia away, not allowing him to, actually engage in the fight. And then as soon as Ryan throws a punch on the clinch, due to frustration, he gets a point deducted with no warning. So what I'm trying to say is that things just don't seem to add up for me. I have my suspicions. What I've been seeing online is that, unlike any other PED case or scandal that we've seen with boxers, Ryan has got a lot of support. He's got a lot of people calling BS on this. And usually when this sort of thing happens, you have fans that are disappointed. You get fans turning against the fighter. You've also got Ryan Garcia coming out publicly and saying it's all lies, it's all full of crap. Generally, fighters at this time, they release PC statements. They don't even come out and say anything themselves. They hide behind their lawyers. Dylan White is a classic example. Just goes completely silent. Ryan Garcia on the front foot, even trolling because apparently it was found in this ashwagandha plant. You know, doing a video around, oh, thank you ashwagandha for giving me this victory. I thought that was pretty hilarious, actually. So, yeah, I think we've got to give Ryan the benefit of the doubt. He's not a known drugs cheat, and I don't condone using PEDs or cheating in the sport of boxing. But we've got to give Ryan the benefit of the doubt. We need to see what the B sample comes back with. And we need to see what other ways this could have actually come into a system. But the question remains is that why take a performance-enhancing drug on the day of your fight and, you know, the day after? What benefit would it have for Ryan? I mean, surely he was tested prior to that and nothing has come negative as we know so far, positive as we know so far. So, yeah. And then my second question is, why against Devin Haney? You would think that if he really needed a performance-enhancing drug, he would have used it against Tank when he was struggling to make the weight. Why against Devin Haney? You know? Why not against the guy that you've killed yourself to make the weight? So you need Ostarine to kind of give you that lean muscle energy. But you do it against Devin Haney, a person you've already beaten 3 times. You know how to beat him. And you already came in overweight. You knew there was no rehydration clause going to be in the match. But you still want to use a PED? Something doesn't smell right. Something doesn't sound right. And I'm just trying to look at it from both sides. Because I know how corrupt this world is. And I know it wouldn't put it past me if, you know, there are powers that be that are doing something to try and discredit it. The likelihood is if the B sample comes back positive, unfortunately, the fight's going to be turned into a non-contest. A no contest, should I say. And Ryan's victory is going to be null and void. And Devin Haney is going to be restored to an undefeated fighter. But we all know, the boxing fans and boxing public all know, that he will still not be the same after this. You saw what happened to David Price and Tony Thompson. For those hardcore boxing fans, David Price was touted as the next big thing. Before Anthony Joshua, before Tyson Fury, he was an undefeated heavyweight fighter, went to the Olympics. He actually beat Tyson Fury to go into the Olympics, into the GB squad. He was undefeated, 6'8", rolling through the division, fought a fighter called Tony Thompson, journeyman pretty much, who'd lost a couple of times. Tony Thompson smashed him, knocked him out, or stopped him, should I say, and then pretty much done the same thing on the second fight. It came to find out that Tony Thompson had actually been cheating using PEDs. David Price, though, was never the same again, and those fights were never turned into non-contests. So yeah. But let me know your thoughts. I'd like to know your thoughts. There's a lot of people obviously kicking Ryan now while he's down. Haven't even wanted to wait for the B sample. But I'd like to know your thoughts. Please leave a comment, like, share and subscribe. And as always, thanks for all your support and subscriptions. Let's keep this channel growing. And you're watching Serum Bale's Boxing and Pro Wrestling YouTube channel. Vinaka Level.